everyone, and welcome to this video about how to use the Cisco Adaptive Security Appliance to connect to an Azure side-to-side VPN. But before we are continuing to configure the appliance, the firewall, I want to show you a website that Microsoft have launched at November last year. It's a learning site. It seems to be quite useful, I think. There's a lot of courses about Azure, and that's very useful for us. We can see about how to configure or work with the virtual machines, networks, and other things, storage and so on. So I think this could be an interesting thing to take a look at for all of us to see how a different thing will work. So yes, take a look at this new open Cisco or Microsoft site about how to use the Azure. As the other times, I have some reference for how to use this appliance to connect via an tunnel, VPN tunnel, to the Azure side. Cisco has created this site for us, so we can take a look at how to configure. A very great guide for using the command line interface with an Cisco ASA box. So use that site to see how everything is working, and as you can see, everything is pointed out how to configure Azure site and also how to configure the adaptive security appliance. Another thing is that you should take a look at this site. I have used this link before, but it's interesting to see what kinds of vendors is supported for the Azure VPN tunnel. And if you take a look at the Cisco ASA, you can see it is only supported by the policy-based VPN tunnel. And we have to use the last time, or in some of the other videos, we used the route-based. There's some difference in this, so just remember, we are using the policy-based VPN tunnel for configuring the ASA box. I have read about some other guys that have whoops, what happened there? Let's take a look at that. Oops. So we have to get it back again. I have read about someone who have used the adaptive security appliance for the route-based VPN tunnel. So in some way we can use it with that, but we have to make some different function, I think, to get working with that. But maybe we can take a look at that in another video. First, I want to say that if you don't know the difference between route-based and policy-based, you can take a look on the internet. There are a lot of articles about this subject, so you can try to investigate that. But what we have to be aware of is that when we are using the policy-based in a virtual network on Azure, we can only use one. We can only have one VPN tunnel, one connection for running against an on-premises site. So no multi-site functionality, and that's not so good, I think. No multi-site right here, no multi-site, and it also don't We also don't have any support for BGP. If you want to have dynamic protocol for how to learn the different networks. So also this is not a function that we get with this policy-based VPN. So how are we creating this policy-based instead of the route-based? It's actually not that difficult because we only have to change one parameter for our creation. If we go to our portal, we can find the virtual network gateway, and when we are creating this gateway, the only thing is that we have to choose the policy base. So at first we can choose it here, and all other settings can be the same. But as mentioned, there are different functionality between these two. The other thing is, if we want to with PowerShell, as I also have used or showed before, it's only when you are creating again this virtual network gateway if you have to set it to policy based instead of route based, and then you are creating the Azure VPN site, but everything else is exactly the same. So what do we have to do to create this VPN? Again, we have to, one of the big thing is that we have this phase 1 and phase 2 we have to create, but we will also create the objects for the subnets we have on our local on-premise side, and an object for the Azure side. We have to with the route-based or with the policy-based type here, we have to tell what kind of traffic is the traffic we want to route through our VPN tunnel. We would do that with the access list, and then we have to configure the phase 1 and phase 2. We have to create a tunnel group and tie it all together in a transform set, and there are also some recommendation from Microsoft that we have to tell our appliance how it have to work. So we will take a look on these steps and see how we can configure our ASA firewall. So let's start creating the tunnel, and maybe we should take a look at how is the connection. You can see I have pinged my internet Google DNS here. It works very well. I also tried to reach a server on the Azure network 10.1.0.4, and there isn't any connection to that, and that's okay for now because we haven't created our VPN. So let's get a terminal for working with our appliance, and we can see here that we have the connection for and are ready to try something out, like starting with creating the objects where we want to use through our setup. So first, an object group. It has to be a network object. Let's call it Azure Networks. Then we have to tell it what the network is. Do it with the network object command 10.1.0.0, and we give it a subnet for a /16. So exit out here, create a new object, group network, and let's call that for on-prem spell here, networks, and again we use our network commands to tell that this is the 10.0, 0.0, again /16 here. So that was our two objects to tell what subnet we use on both sides of the VPN tunnel. The next thing we will do is to use this object in access list to tell that this is the interesting traffic that will go from our site through the tunnel to the Azure network. We will do this with the access list command. We call this for Azure VPN VPN.acl for access list. It have to be an extended. And we want to permit IP traffic and use the object group, and we have to copy our on-premise networks, and then we have to, this was the source, and now we have to use the destination object, again object group. This time we will copy our Azure networks to use it here. That was the command for the access list. The next thing is where we want to tell that the appliance doesn't have to use NAT translation for this traffic that have to go through the tunnel, and we do that with a NAT command. Say inside, outside. And we can give it a number, so it will be the first source. It's a static command, and then we point at our, again we have to use this names here so we can copy it here. We have to tell it that when they are coming and on premise, then translate it to the same address, so it really isn't translated at all. We have to tell what the destination is, and we want to use the Azure network command or object we created earlier. We tell it what it have to translate and what it have to translate it for. So again, there won't happen any translation for this network's invalid command. What have I done? Let's see. Okay, I have to have this static after the destination, also just as in the beginning. Let's try to hit enter here. Yeah, that was. That was the interesting traffic. The other thing is that we have to use a pre-share key as we created in the Azure, on the Azure side. And I really can't remember that password, so let's try to open our site here. Where is that? Is that in the virtual gateway or in the local gateway? I think it's in the local, actually. Local network gateway. Maybe, let's see. Configuration. No. In the connection mail. No. Oh, share key. Great here. My secret to share. I have to use this for when I'm creating first phase here. We want to use AES 256 for encryption, share for hashing, and we want to use Diffie-Hellman version 2 for the key exchange. So that's the first phase, the ISA camp phase, or policy, or what you want to call it. So let's go back to our terminal here. Let's create a crypto. IP v1. Have a policy. Let's call it number 5. We have to tell it the authentication. It's a pre-share key. We have to tell it the encryption. And let's, as said, give it a AES 256. We have to tell it what hash we have to use. Let's share. And the Diffie-Hellman group is 2. They have to be lifetime. And we set that to 28,800. And there. And we also have to enable the ISA camp here for the outside interface that are connected to the internet. Do that with the crypto v1 enable and use the outside interface name, and that should actually activate that. Next we want to configure the parameters for the phase 2. We also here will use some crypto commands. Crypto, adjust my table here. Crypto map. No, that's not yet, because the phase 2 is the IPsec. So we use the IPsec command here. EV1 and use the transform set. And we have to use the name, a name that we want to set to Azure. IPsec, let's call it proposal set. It have to be this. And we want to use the ESP. There are different kinds. We can use the question mark. We take the ESP.AES.256. So, and again, we can use the question mark here to see that we can, what share we want to use, ESP share HEMAC. Enter here, set the crypto, IPsec, security association, and lifetimes we have to set for seconds and kilobytes. Lifetime, the second we want to set here as told on the from the Microsoft site, and the kilobytes we want to set is again the crypto IPsec security and lifetime kilobytes, and we actually have something like, is it then 102 so it's actually 102 million in Danish, billion in English, yeah. Let's take that and use this. Now we want to create a tunnel group, and it's actually for the pre-share key that we got earlier from our Azure sites, and the tunnel group is the one is carrying the shared key to our remote site. So let's take it here, and my IP address 4069. You have to tell it what type of tunnel it have to use. IPsec. Here, that's great. The tunnel. Maybe just take it to here and call the attribute so we can set our share key. I key 1 pre-share key, and it's my secret to share. Yes. So that was the pre-share key. The next thing is that we want to tie it all together. We can just exit here. With a crypto map, we can start with a crypto map and call it or give it a name, Azure crypto map. Give it a number and match address Azure VPN ACL as we have created earlier. What's important about this crypto map is that you have to be aware of that you can only use one crypto map on your interface. You can only apply one to your interface. So you have to, if you already have a crypto map or this map here on an interface, you have to use the same name. The thing you can do different is that you can use different number of maps. So each VPN tunnel, if you have a multi-site, have to have different numbers. But that's the thing to remember. So we want to set the peer of the remote site. Then we have to set the transform set. And we have to write the I key 1 transform sets, and we have to use the name we created earlier, Azure IPsec proposal set, we call it, I think, here. And eventually we have to set it on our interface with the crypto map Azure crypto map, the name again, interface. I spelled something wrong. Should have used the up arrow to use the last line, but interface outside. So now we are setting this here. Oops, outside. Enter, and now we have this and all join it all to our interface. Actually, that was the command for creating everything here for the VPN, and eventually it should come up. It can take some time, and we have to remember that Microsoft or Azure has some recommendation for for some global commands that they have to set, and it's something about the segment size have to be set for maximum, and the TCP session have to continue with the information even if the tunnel is dropped. So we can set that also. Sysopt connection TCP MSS 1350. We have another sysopt connection command. It's preserve VPN flows. We have to set these things for have our VPN tunnel function. But I think I will pause the video before we run some commands to see that it actually works, and just let it come up and running. We can go to the Azure here, and we could see that it should at the time be succeeded. Maybe it is, but we will see. So let's wait some minutes to see what we can do here to have everything up and run. But let's try to make a test. We hope the tunnel is up and running now. We saw that the Azure size set connected is that the status is succeed. So hopefully we could ping our, and we could. That's great. So actually it seems to that the VPN tunnel has created. How can we verify it in our terminal here? We can try to say show crypto ISA camp security association. We can see it has the responder role. That's great, and have the it will type, and it's active. So it seems pretty fine. We can also use the crypto here to see the IPsec security association. And remember, the difference is that one is for the managed and the other is also for the data traffic. We have to travel through the tunnel. Again, we have to see what can we see here. That's what our access list that point out our traffic, the interesting traffic, and a lot of great stuff. Oops, don't have to use that. Also, we can verify our commands in the config. Show run crypto. We can see all the things we have set and configured. We can see the object network command. We can use it here. We can see the object that we have created. And why can't we see the? No, it's because it's object group or something, I think. Yeah, object group. We will see the one for our Azure and on-premise network. You can see show run tunnel. See the tunnel commands that we have created. So also show access list. There are a lot of different commands we can use to verify. But the important thing is that we could see that it was up and running, and we could have some traffic through this, and we can now see that there is data coming in and out of our tunnel. So thank you for watching. My name is Jesper Blark, and hope to see you again in another video.